morning, students. Today we are going to learn the fifth lesson of our history subject, that is religious trends in ancient India. In this lesson, we will learn about different religion that emerged and made its way in ancient India. Religion has played a big role in Indian history. Hinduism is the oldest religion in India, but there are also many other religions such as Jainism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, Zoroastrianism practiced in India. Let's look each of these one by one. Towards the end of the Vedic period, the minute detail of yajna rite acquired undue importance. Here you can see in the picture that a priest putting offerings in the yajna. Yajna means sacrifice, offerings, worship, any ritual in Hinduism done in front of sacred fire, often with mantras. Yajna rites were given more importance at that time. At that time, the priestly class, that is, Brahmin, had the knowledge of rites, rituals, and performing yajna. Others no longer had a freedom to gaining that knowledge. During the Vedic period, society divided into four varnas: Brahmin, Kshatriyas, Vaishya, and Sudras. The Brahmin refers to the intellectual part of the society, that is, priests or the learned men. Kshatriyas were the warriors, kings, or the person who protects the society. Vaishya are the businessmen or the traders. Sudras are the workers used to work for the above three classes. This Varna system came to be determined by the basis of birth. This gave rise to the caste. The caste system leads to inequality in the society. Varna system restriction became very hard in the course of time. The person's social position were decided by the Varna into which he was born rather than by their achievements. Around 6th century BC, attempts were made to express religious thoughts in a way that the common man would understand easily. Many people realized that every person is free to find his ways of its own upliftment. This led to establishment of religions. Work of Vardhaman Mahavir and Gautam Buddha is of special importance among proponents of new thoughts. Let us gain more information about Vardhaman Mahavir and Gautama Buddha through this lesson. Jainism is one of the ancient religion. It is about 5000 years old. This religion gave importance to the principle of non-violence. Non-violence means not harming oneself or others, not causing any harm to others, not hurting to others is what we call non-violence. According to Jain tradition, a person who had attained or gained religious knowledge is known as Tirthankars. There are 24 Tirthankars. Vardhaman Mahavir, the founder of Jainism, is the 24th Tirthankar in Jain religious tradition. Followers of Jainism do not worship any god, but they achieve goodness themselves by defeating all the bad desires. One rule of Jainists is not to kill anything. They believe in fasting and meditation. Vardhaman Mahavir was born in 599 BCE in Kundagram, Vaishali in the state of Bihar. He was born as a prince and his father's name was a King Siddharth and mother's name was King Trishla. At the age of 30, he left his family and the royal household and all the things including his clothes to become a monk. He spent 12.5 years in the deep silence and meditation. He went without food for a long time. He carefully avoided harming other living beings, including animals, birds, and plants. He attained enlightenment after 12.5 years of rigorous tapa. This knowledge was pure or keval. Therefore, he is known as Kevali. He also called as jinn or conqueror because all of those happiness and joy one gets from the physical comfort or discomfort or from other materialistic thing does not have any effect on him. Vardhaman is said to be Mahavir because he had the resilience, the courage to conquer all passion. Resilience means a strength or a courage to conquer all the passions. After the enlightenment of knowledge, he spent next 30 years traveling barefoot around India, preaching to the people the truth he realized. He attracted all the walks of life, rich and poor, king and commoner, men and women, prince and princess. To make it easy for the people to understand it, he spoke to them in Ardha Magadhi, a people's language. Ardha Magadhi is an ancient Prakrit language of India. He laid stress on the good conduct. Good conduct means what? Good behavior. The essence of his teaching for good conduct is contained in the great vows, Panch Mahavratas, and the three jewels, that is called as Three Ratnas. The assembly held by the Tirthankar to preach people was known as Samavasaran. In Ardha Magadhi, they used to teach in their people's language. Samavasaran was based on equality of people. All the people of all Varnas can attend and had an entry. Let us see the 5 great vows, that is also called as Panch Mahavratas. It is strictly told in the Jainism that they have to follow these 5 rules strictly, very strictly. That is what? Ahimsa, Satya, Asthya, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya. This was the 5 vows. Okay. And let us see one by one what has been, each of them it has been called. First one is Ahimsa, non-violence. No living being should be hurt, injured or harmed through one's behavior. Because of our behavior, no one should be hurt, injured and harmed. It is the first vows, that is non-violence. Okay. The second one is Satya. Every speech and action should be true. Whatever you do, whatever you speak, it should be true. Astya means not stealing, non-stealing. Astya means theft. Taking what belongs to others without their consent is theft or stealing. Astya means non-stealing anything. Means whatever the things belongs to other, we should not take it from them. We should not steal that. Okay, that is what means non-stealing. Okay, Astya. And the fourth one is Aparigraha. Men tend to accumulate property due to greed. Aparigraha means not hoarding and accumulating anything in this way. Means what? We should not gather the property because of our greediness. We should not accumulate anything because of our greediness is what we call as non-attachment. Okay. Fifth one we are going to see is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is also called as chastity. It means living bodily pleasure and following the vows. Means we have to leave all the bodily pleasures and we have to strictly follow this 5 vows. Okay. Let's see what are the Pancha Mahavratas, and it is also called as 5 great vows. First one is Ahimsa, non-violence. Second, Satya, speak truth. Truth. Third, Astya, non-stealing. Then Aparigraha, non-attachment. And fifth one is Brahmacharya, chastity. Let us see now the three jewels. It is also called as three Ratna. Okay. Samyak Darshan, Samyak Jnana, Samyak Charitra. Samyak Darshan means what? Right to faith. Okay. To understand the truth in the preaching of Tirthankar and to have a faith in it. We should have a faith and we should believe whatever the truth, whatever it has been preached by the Tirthankar. We should have a faith as well as belief in it. Okay. Samyak Jnana means right to gain knowledge. Studying the preaching and philosophy of Tirthankar regularly and learning in a deep meaning. Means whatever it is being preached by the Tirthankar, we should gain the knowledge as well as we should develop proper understanding of it. Okay. Samyak Charitra means what? Right to conduct. Strictly following the 5 great vows. Okay. These are the three jewels and it is also called as. Children, see the picture which is being given here. There are, you can see here, there are different 6 men are surrounding an elephant, right? There is an elephant and 6 men surrounding it. All the 6 men have different viewpoints according to the animal. 6 men with different views were brought in front of an elephant and asked what do they think of this creature. Each of these men have different views. One said, his trunk is like a snake. Its tail is like a rope. Its leg is like a tree. Its body is like a wall. Its tail is like a rope. Its ear is like a fan. These 6 men, without looking at the entire picture, came to a conclusion that by looking at just a few points. So basically, it means that if you only look at 1 or 2 points, we may not completely understand it. We may not conclude anything by half information. Therefore, it is very important or necessary to pay attention to every aspects of an issue. If we have listened half information and will go and fight with someone, is not right. We should always understand the complete scenario and the situation that come to, and we have to come to a conclusion. If people come to this to develop a sense of tolerance and understanding towards each other, which will make us to society a better place to live in. So therefore, always understand things properly and then come into a conclusion. The Vardhaman Mahavir has taught people that a greatness of man does not depend on a family he was born into, or which caste or varna he belongs to, or which community he belongs to, but it depends on his behavior. How the man behave, how he interact with the people, about this is the greatness of that man. Similarly, in Vedic tradition, women may not given much importance. They were considered inferior to man. But Vardhaman Mahavir gave equal importance to women also. The teaching of Vardhaman Mahavir were love all living things. We should love all the living things. We should have mercy and compassion towards each other. We should live and let others live also happily. Buddhism. Buddhism is a religion founded by Gautama Buddha in the northeastern India. It is about 2500 years old. Buddhism spread in India and many other countries outside India. Buddhism was a main religion of most of the ancient countries. Gautama Buddha was born at Lumbini in Nepal. His father's name was Sudodana, and mother's name was Mayadevi. His birth name was Siddharth. He had attained knowledge of human life in his entirely. For many years, he lived in the palace wall, away from the sufferings of life. Sufferings such as age, death, sickness, etc. He did not know what they were. One day, after marrying and having a child, Siddharth went outside the royal palace, and for the first time, he had saw an old man and sick man and corpse. He was worried for what he saw. He learned that sickness, age, death were inevitable fate of human being. Inevitable means unavoidable. We cannot avoid death, sickness, or fate. No one would avoid it. So he decided to leave all pleasure of royal family and left his home. After seeing the sufferings of world, Siddharth decided to leave all the pleasures of royal family, his family, homes, luxury to attain enlightenment. He wanted to know why there is sorrow and sufferings in human life. On Vaishak Purnima, he was sitting in a deep meditation under a peepal tree at Uruvela near city Gaya in the state of Bihar. This is the peepal tree where Gautama Buddha has attained enlightenment. You can see in the picture, this tree is called as Bodhi tree, and the place Uruvela is known as Bodh Gaya. Gautama Buddha has delivered his first sermon at Sarnath near Varanasi. The first sermon means the first religious speech given by Gautama Buddha. His teaching in the sermon are termed as Dhamma. He set in a motion of wheel of Dhamma in this sermon. Therefore, this event is called Dhamma Chakra Pravartan in Pali language and Dharma Chakra Pravartan in Sanskrit. Later, he travelled on foot for nearly 45 years to preach Dhamma. He preached in the people's language Pali. Now children, let us see what are the noble truths which was given by Gautama Buddha. That noble truths are also called as Arya Satyas. There are 4 truths at the root of all human affairs. They are called as noble truths as well as Arya Satyas. The first is called as Dukkha. Second, the cause of Dukkha. Third, Dukkha Nivaran. Fourth, Pratipad. These are the 4 noble truths whichever it is being given by Gautama Buddha. First is Dukkha. Dukkha means what? Suffering. There is suffering in human life. Yes, sufferings may be illness, oldness, fear of approaching death, separation from what one loves, stuck with what one hates. So this may be the suffering, and in human life, sufferings are there. And the second one is the cause of suffering. There is a cause of suffering like ignorance, hate, greediness, hating peoples. These are the causes of suffering. As well as the third we'll see, that is Dukkha Nivaran. It is possible to end suffering. We can end our sufferings. How we can end our sufferings? Living all our desires and need. This will help us to end our sufferings. Okay. Fourth one is what? Pratipad. Pratipad means a way. This way leads to end of sufferings. This is the way of good conduct. Good conduct means a good behavior. It is known as Astangit or Eightfold Path. Means Pratipad is a way which will help us to end our sufferings, and this is the way of good behavior. Okay, that we are going to see. This is also called as Eightfold Path. This is the Eightfold Path. Okay, first one is Before we'll see the eightfold path, the way that leads to end our suffering, that is what we known as eightfold path. The first one is right view. Know the truth, the knowledge of four noble truth. Okay. And the second one is right intention, right to resolve. What we have to do is giving up our cruelty and became a good person is what we call as right intention. Third is right to speech. Refrain from the telling lies, telling tales, rude, harsh, meaningless speech. Means we should always speak politely to the person. We should not harm or rudely, we should not speak to others. Okay. The fourth one is right conduct. Stay away from the killing animals, stealing, uncontrolled behavior. Means we should not kill any human being, as well as we should not harm because of our uncontrolled behavior. Okay. Fifth one is right livelihood. Using only the proper means of livelihood. Right effort. Making effort to avoid wrong acts, giving up wrong acts, undertaking them and maintaining a good act. Seventh one is right mindfulness. Being mindful to remove the passions and concentrating and trying to understand one's own feeling and mind. Eighth one is right concentration. Means what we have to do, experiencing a deep meditation with concentration is what we call as right concentration. So these are the eightfold path. Gautama Buddha asked people to follow 5 rules. These rules are called Panchashil. First one is stay away from the killing animal. We should not kill any living being. Okay. Second one is stay away from stealing. We should not steal or we should not take whatever thing belongs to the other. Okay. Stay away from unethical conduct. We should not commit sexual misconduct. We should not misbehave. Okay. Stay away from telling lies. We should not tell lies. Okay. And the fifth one is stay away from intoxicants. Means we should not take drugs, alcohol, smoking and all. Okay. These are the 5 rules which we should follow according to Gautama Buddha. Now see, the next topic is Buddha Sangha. He created a Sangha of bhikkhus to preach his religion. Followers who gave up their domestic life and entered in Sangha were called as bhikkhus. They have also travelled barefoot like Buddha to preach Dhamma to the people. There were separate Sangha of women, that is what called as bhikkhunis. People of all Varna and caste would embrace Buddhism. Let us see the essence of Gautama Buddha teaching. He refused discrimination based on things like Varna. As in the Vedic period, we have seen the peoples have been divided into different Varnas, but in essence of Gautama Buddha, he has refused to the discrimination based on the Varna. No one is greater or smaller by their birth. Greatness depends on one's behavior or conduct, whatever he does or whatever his behavior, how he behaves. The greatness depends on that. He preached that like men, women too had the right to be their own upliftment. He opposed the ritual of yajna. His teaching of wisdom, moral, virtue and other values were aimed at the welfare of man. The compassion for all living beings was an extraordinary feature of his personality.